To truly give you the gift of freedom as you walk along the path of each daily shortcut episode, you'll discover that it's the people who you mastermind with that give you the power to transform your business. You'll take off in your business when you decide to slow down time and connect with other great mentors. When you decide to embrace fully the transformational information from one of my mentors, as we open a new door to a vehicle you can step inside and smile, taking one step and then the other. As we open a new door to a vehicle as you walk on a stage so we can celebrate you. Pay attention to William Wood in this special episode as he shines a light on the power you have inside so you can immerse yourself in the principles of success, lift your hands in the air, and be free.
Hi, my name is William Wood, creator of the Max Performance Master Course and co-creator of the Lifestyle Profits Academy. I help entrepreneurs take their personal and professional performance to the next level by helping them reach their goals and live their dream lifestyle. Today, in just a minute, I will be sharing part 3 of the training on how to increase your influence through powerful listening. Listening is a way to powerfully build rapport and tear down walls that are keeping you from your success. Mastering the power of listening not only helps at home, but is a way to understand your customer more deeply, which leads to massively improving your sales and marketing. I recommend you pull out a pen and a piece of paper and take notes while you pay careful attention to today's training. It can change your life. After you finish listening to today's episode of The Daily Show, I encourage you to think who in your life might benefit from the information you just learned. A powerful way to help someone change their life is to email them a link to today's episode, or even to post it to your Facebook wall and share it with your friends. It only takes one idea to totally change someone else's life. And all you've got to do is share the link. How cool is that? When you leave a comment below today's post, you'll automatically be entered into a contest to win a copy of the book, Just Listen. Discover the secret to get through to absolutely anyone by Mark Goulston, who talks about the power that listening has to influence others. All you need to do to win your free copy of Goulston's book is post a meaningful comment below immediately after listening to today's episode. One person who leaves a meaningful comment will win a free copy of Just Listen. Discover the secret to get through to absolutely anyone. If you're chosen, we will ship the book directly to your home or business at no cost to you. Now let's dive into the third part of the conversation I had with Christian Westerfeld. In this conversation, we discuss how to deepen your powers of listening. I just got back from teaching a 2-day workshop on establishing rapport, and did a little bit of other stuff, but mainly it was establishing rapport is what I taught the workshop on. I spent about a day and a half talking about listening skills. And the way that I currently think about listening skills is I organize them into 4 phases. First phase is what I call dump your cup. If your cup is running, and this is what we've been talking about for the last few minutes, if your cup is running over with judgments, with opinions, with anger, with hostility, with some sort of massive emotional buildup, before you can really effectively listen, if time allows, and most of the time it does, do what you need to do to process out the emotion so that you can actually be present. Because if not, what happens is that you're so emotionally charged, you're like an electric fence. Yeah. And when the other person comes up to reach out with their tender little heartstrings, they get zapped because you got all this energy inside of you, even if you're just bottling it up. I mean, how many of you have talked to somebody who didn't really say anything, but like their eyes were electrocuting you, right? I mean, or right? I mean, you see their eyes like squint down, or their jaw locks down, or their body gets all tight, and you can tell that they're not in receiving mode, and that's because maybe they got triggered, or there's something inside that's unresolved energy. It's why Christian and I had a conversation earlier this week where I needed to go and approach a sensitive conversation. I still had a lot of charge around it, and I needed the value of Christian's expertise to know, okay, is this too early to talk or not? And I actually decided just to give it a few days in between responding, because I was not in a place where my cup was completely empty. Today I am. Today I could actually hold that conversation, and I'd be in a really good place to be able to hear and listen. So if you've got a relationship that's strained, what do you got to do to be able to lower the energy so that you can actually be in a place of both sending and receiving in a way that's calm? Now, I have a couple of ideas about how to do that, because some of you are like, I don't know how to do that well. And the reality is we could spend a number of shows just talking about how to do that. But let me give you two techniques that have been really useful for me. One is the technique of journaling. So if I have a really sensitive conversation, and if I find that my emotions are really highly charged, I'm going to spend time actually writing everything out until this energy starts to drop on the conversation. And that might not only be in one day, that might be over a period of days. For me, and for many of my clients, the process of journaling gets all the spinning that's going on in your head, and it puts it on paper. Once you can step back from it and look at it, it tends to really bring the emotional charge down. There's a second technique that I think is especially useful. It's an old technique that comes from the empty chair tradition, which I think was first developed by Fritz Perls, although I don't know, maybe Perls learned it from somebody before him. But in the empty chair technique, or in the variant of the empty chair technique that I'll teach you, basically what you do is you sit down across from an empty chair. You imagine that the person that you want to talk to is there in front of you. And once you can imagine them in your mind, I like to start by asking permission. Like, is it okay if I share some things that are on my mind and my heart? Now, some of you are saying, well, that's crazy. It's just an image in your head. Okay, that's fine. You can do it in another way. That's just the way that's been helpful for me. So I sit there, and once I get buy-in from this image that's in my mind, or this, if some people don't visualize that well, maybe it's more of like a feeling that person is there. Once I get it's okay to talk, then I go in and I say everything. And the cool thing about this is I don't have to be so careful about the way I say it, right? If it's on my heart or my mind, I can just launch right in and say whatever's there. And I don't tiptoe around this. I speak as if they were there. I speak with energy. I speak with this, whatever energy is in me, I want to move it out of me. And I'll speak for as long as I feel like I got something to say. And some of you are thinking, man, I'd speak for hours. Probably not. I've been really emotionally charged, and within 10 or 15 minutes, there's nothing more to say. It's like, okay, I've said it all. And that's phase two. So phase one is set up the chair, invite them there, whether that's your subconscious mind, or if you think it's more of an energetic thing, whatever, that's fine. Just invite them there. Once you get a yes, start speaking, speak it all out. Don't hold anything back. Don't edit. Just get it out of you. And then once it's done, I like to do two more things. I like to look at the other person in the eye and say, listen, there's been tension in our relationship, and I'm not necessarily saying that I condone what's going on here, but I don't want to hold on to the energy either. So I am willing to forgive you for this situation. And we just got done talking about forgiveness in the show, but forgiveness is letting go. It's not condoning. It's not saying, oh, this is all okay. Saying, oh yeah, I'm ready to just let this go. So I forgive this because it's not good for me to hold on to this energy. So I forgive you. And then I also like to turn around and ask the other person for forgiveness. So here I'm sitting across from an empty chair. I see the person in my mind and I say, I forgive you. Do you forgive me for holding on to all this anger and negativity, or whatever it happens to be? And, sometimes my subconscious mind says yes, and sometimes it says no. But either way, I've asked. Interestingly enough, this process will almost always radically drop the level of emotional tension that's in a conversation. Now, it might not drop it in the other person, but it drops it in me. And then when I show up to have the conversation, I'm not saying it for the first time. I've let go of the anger. I've let go of the sadness or the difficulty. Now, I've had important conversation that I've needed to have where I've had to do that rehearsal of kind of getting it all out, or doing the empty chair technique 4 or 5 times before I was emotionally level and clear. Each time the energy level would drop. Each time it would drop a little more, but there was still a little something inside. And so it took me 3 or 4 days to completely process that out. Or maybe I was doing a combination of journaling and empty chair. Yeah. Now, I'm a busy guy, so sometimes I'll do this in my car when I'm driving. So I'll just invite them into the passenger seat, and I'm sitting there, if somebody drove by, they'd see me wildly, gesturing and speaking in the car. So if you ever see me on the freeway and I'm doing that, you'll know exactly what's going on. But you had something to say, Christian.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, you're talking about softening the charge, right? Yeah. Or neutralizing the charge, but that's different from being numb.
Right, very different.
You're still very emotionally present. It's not like, okay, now I'm emotionally dead. It's just, it now no longer carries the intense charge.
Right, now I'm not going to enter into the conversation, and my body's not going to be rigid, and my jaw's not going to be clenched, and I'm not going to be shooting laser beams out of my eyes, all of which will create an environment which is not safe for the other person to speak.
Yeah.
And so again, phase 1 in listening really happens, just like you said, it happens before the conversation ever happens. It is emptying your cup of the emotions and the thoughts so that when you're there, you can just be present. So that you're not coming in colored by anger or colored by sadness or colored by grief or colored by some prejudice, but I'm just showing up now and I am in a good space to listen. Now, phase two of listening has to do with creating a good emotional state inside of your mind and body. And so, what are the emotional states that are congruent with good listening? Number 1, I am fully present. I am mindful. I'm in my body. I am aware of the present moment. I am right here, right now, and I am connected to you. I am connected to the situation, and I'm here. So I'm present, right? I'm present and aware. The second one is I want to generally create a feeling of connection between me and the other person. So it's a feeling of literally feeling a connection. Now, depending on the relationship I have with this person, that type of connection is going to be real different. But it should be a type of connection at the very minimum that says I am willing to both send and receive. And depending on who I'm talking to, I may want other things there. There may be compassion that needs to be there. There may need to be patience, or there may need to be kindness or gentleness that's all wrapped up in that. And that's the attitude that also goes in. And I believe that also happens ideally before you enter into the conversation. If you're trying to create it after the conversation is underway, it's much, much more difficult to create. Now, the third phase of listening, I think, is the attitude that you just described. And that is, I am going to diagnose before I prescribe. I'm going to understand before I seek to be understood. And I really want to listen to understand. Now, listening to understand is different than listening to respond, and it's different than listening to agree. Before I seek to influence, I want to make sure that I have fully heard the other person out, that I've got everything that's on their mind and their heart before I speak. I'll make a bold statement. That one attitude, these 3 preparatory phases, emptying your cup, preparing your emotional state, and getting your attitude right, will have more to do with your efficacy as a listener than any technique that you employ. Because if you employ a listening technique and it is not grounded in a good emotional state and in a good attitude, the person will feel as if you are manipulating them. And people don't like to be manipulated.
Learning to deeply and sincerely listen has helped me totally revolutionize my life in every dimension. Listening has helped me deepen my personal relationships, and it has helped me serve my customers more effectively, which has led to increased business growth and deeper client satisfaction. And I believe it can help you too. If you liked the training you got today, the best way to make sure that you keep on getting daily motivation and inspiration is to scroll to the bottom of this page and enter your name and best email address. When you do, you will subscribe to The Daily Show, which is released 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Most days, you'll hear from David Wood, my financial freedom mentor. 1 day a week, you will hear from me. 5 days a week, you'll get access to more amazing content just like you heard today. In fact, after today, you're going to hear at least a couple more installments about the power of listening and the impact that it can have on your life. You'll also get several bonuses when you subscribe today, including a free MP3 version of my words training. This 50-minute MP3 training teaches you how to use your words to create influence and reprogram your subconscious mind. Clients have paid me as much as $200 to get this information, and now you're getting it free after you enter your name and email address below. When you scroll down and subscribe to The Daily Show, you'll also get a free PDF of today's message that you can print. Reading this message can be a powerful way to reinforce today's success principles deep into your subconscious mind. You'll also get a free audio download of today's message, which you can listen to again and again to absorb these ideas into your subconscious mind. You'll become more powerful on your path to freedom because you're reinforcing the principles that will create the success, freedom, and lifestyle that you really want. I look forward to seeing you again soon next time. This is William Wood, and I believe.